Hello everyone, my name is Relax and Panic and this is another reaction to My Hero Academia. It is Season 3, Episode 15 and we are starting off strong. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening, and as always, if you want to see the reaction itself, please go down into my descriptions. You will find a link that leads you directly to. Just replace the circumflex dot parts with real dots and enjoy the reaction. Once you've done, feel free to come back here to hear out my thoughts about this episode. So, see you soon. For those that came back, welcome back. Now, let's go through it, right? That is an interesting episode, and although it has a cliffhanger as always, I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen the next time, because we have a battle of the schools in the end. At least in the beginning, now it is everyone against UA. Not so much of a surprise there, you know, if they would have gone after each other in the beginning. So the other, I wouldn't say minor schools, the other schools against each other. Whoever would have won in the end, you would have to face UA, which is known as the best school, as the #1 school. Maybe for real, maybe it's just because it is the most central one. It has the biggest impact on like any of those festivals, I guess. So what you do is, if you're the weaker ones, you unite against the common enemy. Take him out, the UA, and then you can still fight it out against each other. So that's what they're doing, and I like the fact that they pointed out by using Miss Joke that this happens like every year. It makes sense. It's a bit mean. It seems to be unfair. And you might question if that doesn't put the UA students at a disadvantage. But then, when you write in to be member of the UA, you want to be one of the best heroes. And those, they grow by facing odds. And this is a big stone on the way. So it's a good thing for them, I guess. Even if they would lose, they would learn something. So I'm in for it, and as Eraserhead said, well, a hero has to overcome stuff, so that's it. I already mentioned it during the reaction itself. In my opinion, they are not so at a disadvantage still, although by numbers. Because since the sports festival, they developed a lot of skills. They got stronger with their quirks. I mean, they had the training where they trained to use their quirks more efficiently, longer, and stronger without exhausting. So, like it's happening now, an attack which goes possibly over time, you know, that they bombard them with their bolts, might be bad, but they will be able to withstand it, I think. And what we shouldn't misinterpret, they cannot go on forever. They only have, I think it was 5 bolts. So if you throw all your bolts out right now at the start, you're out. You know, you're a sitting duck. You can evade whatever you want. If you have no more bolts, then you will not be able to take out others. The question is if you're able to steal bolts from others, or if they are lying on the ground because they're just, you know, were smashed away, if you can reuse them. That's an interesting question, which they didn't point out. So it might be. In this case, it will extend the time. But if you see heroes like Todoroki, like Bakugo, and others, they will just destroy your bolts instead of parrying them. So that's one thing. So they are able to withstand for a time. The other thing is they trained their specific quirks. They trained their super moves, their special moves, the last episodes. So those are some that the competitors will not know of. Even their friends very often don't know about those moves. Which, by the way, is a thing we can expect in the end. It might be that they are going against each other. We will see. And I mean everyone. It might very well be that some of the UA students will have to go against each other. We will see if this happens. I'm not sure. And the third thing which they trained, which gives them an advantage, is they grew together as a group, as a team. And although I don't want to take it from the other schools, in my opinion, the UA possibly grew closer because of the problems they faced, because of the fact that they were attacked by the villains. They had to rely on each other in the past. They saved each other's lives in the past, so they know that they can count on each other. While the other schools are just classmates, you know? So I think it is way more likely that they might break apart from each other than the UA will. Now to other things here. So we have a new costume for Deku, Costume Gamma. Which means there were others before. And I'm not completely sure why they were not named. But it shows me that there might even be further costumes in the future. So I'm looking forward to that. We have seen new costumes of some of the other students as well. Let me see if I can find them, because I'm not completely sure about what they're used for. So yeah, Kirishima has those, I don't know what it is around his shoulders and what for. His quirk is hardening. So I'm not sure what his costume will help him with that. In the end, I cannot really see that his costume could improve his abilities. So maybe something except like that he would have put blades on his hands or stuff like that, which he can use for punching, to increase the effect of his punching. The main thing about his costume is possible that it should be able to withstand when he is crushed, because his body withstands it due to the hardening, but his costume will possibly rip all the time. So that's one thing. I'm not sure what this will help him here. We have seen the other costume here, however, from, let's see if I can put it in. There it is. Yeah, here we have from our little lightning guy. He has those strange things on his elbows and packages on his side. I guess his packages are possible on the belt, you know? I guess those are possibly batteries. That would be clever. I mean, he is able to charge stuff up. He is able to push out energy. So, and his main deficit was when he went full power, he became stupid. You know, his brain shortcutted. I'm not sure about the word. So you either want to have an option to make sure this isn't happening, or have an option to use your electricity. So I guess his belt is like a battery belt, so he can store powers already. And if he's able to get high-level equipment from Hatsume as example, he would be able to store even incredibly powerful energy, I guess, which he can use additional to his powers. Which brings me to the thing on his elbows. What if those are like, you know, like a lightning cannon, like an option to throw lightning? Up to the moment, he was using lightning by touch and on a very close range because it jumped over. But it was like a lightning strike, so not, it wasn't into one direction. It was more like very unclear where it went to. So if he could use this like a lightning cannon to bundle up his energy and shoot it like a laser or stuff alike, that would be awesome, because he would have increased range and he would be very, very dangerous from afar. Right now he's dangerous from close. No one wants to get close to him because you get a zap. So you shoot him from afar right now. But if he's able to extend the range, that would increase him massively. It would help him massively. And if he has these battery packs as example, which are loaded up permanently, passively while he's walking around, you know, he can always like put out a bit of energy. Maybe they give him like a permanent shield, you know, that when you touch him you get zapped by the battery pack, or he can use it additional to his own energy, stuff like that I was thinking about. So options there. We know that Todoroki, due to this scene, has like bracelets as well, and Earphone Jack has some upgrades. I'm not sure what they are. For Todoroki, I already thought the best option, what he could try to achieve, is using both of his quirks at the same time. I mean, he has two quirks, you know, he has ice and fire. If he would be able to do both at the same time, he could create incredible stuff. You know, he could influence the weather. because he could create fog instantly, boiling water to shoot at enemies. I can't even think as far as his options are, so that's one thing. For earphone jack, she used a bit of Sonic in the past. If she could like create this in a more massive amount, thinking about like a Sonic explosion around her, something like that would be useful. So I guess she will possibly get something like additional speakers or stuff on her equipment. So if she would have like an dress made out of speakers, so to speak, that even more push out her Sonic volume, she could do like a Sonic bomb around her and cover her ears, as we have in the picture here, to make sure she's not hit. Just an option, you know. On the other way around, thus she is able to create waves. We have seen it in the past that she was able to absorb the waves from the teacher, who uses vocals as well. So if she could create like fields of silence, it might not seem much, but if you are just as example right now in this fight in the stadium, you could create small fields of white noise, of no noise at all, and by this you could cancel out other heroes that use quirks to hear what's going on. You could take off their abilities for this area, and you could make sure that your team can discuss with each other what's happening, what they want to do, without being interfered. Just saying. So for the others, well, we haven't seen much of other costumes yet. We have the strange class B, yeah. Oh yeah, we have him. I'm not sure what this is for, especially this mask. I guess to kind of clip his own bands there. I'm not completely sure. I mean, he can shoot those out. I don't know how strong they are. If he has like, if they can create like a suit that strengthens these, gives them other abilities, like the ones from Eraserhead, who are not just taping in enemies, but are extremely strong and nearly impossible to rip. If he could have something that pushes like a layer on those stuff when he shoots it out, so that it does, I don't know, gets harder, it becomes better stone when it stops moving, it's inflammable, it is electricity carrying, as example, to work together with some specific other hero, stuff like that. I think there are options for him as well. So, but yeah, we have a little bit of love, although Eureka said it is not love. I think it is love, but maybe she is very, very much in love with his determination. Maybe that's what she's thinking about, but in the end you love the person, so what? And we finally met the other schools. So we have those guys we've seen in the intro. I really look forward for him. He's not in on the attack right now, I've seen. Neither is, I think, any of his teammates. So maybe they are clever and just have pulled back and wait for what's going on there. Let the other schools attack UA, and whoever wins take on them. Might be an option, unless everyone thinks it. So he might be interesting, and we've seen, as I said, he looks like Mr. Bison. And we have her, and I really love her. She's entertaining, she's funny. So, Miss Joke. If I got that correctly, then her ability is that when she's around and laughing, her outburst ability, others around her start to laugh as well. And, you know, if you ever were laughing extremely hard, you know, you cannot stop. You cannot control yourself properly anymore. You're distracted. And I guess that's her ability, because then she can beat you up because you're laughing and are distracted, while she can control it still. So it's a little bit like forced dancing. It is forced laughing. There are spells like that I know from the D&D universe, where you made people dance without them wanting to in a specific area, and due to that they were not able to fight. She does the same with the laughing. I guess she's not using this quirk right now, because otherwise possibly others would laugh as well, even Eraserhead, unless he activated his quirk. And she as she stated herself, she likes making fun of him and she likes to tease him because he's so good and witty at replying immediately. Thus they know each other long enough. It is possibly more like a game for her. Although, I have to ask myself if maybe there's at least a little bit of truth in it. Maybe she really is interested in him. Which maybe she even doesn't admit, you know? It's this typical thing of just make it a joke. So that everyone thinks it's a joke, but inside there is like a tiny bit of truth in it. And you just try to hide it because you're afraid of being hurt. So what if? Which brings me to my other question. What if he would answer yes to her questions? Because she doesn't expect a yes to it, you know, like marry me, go out with me, stuff like that. What if he would do it? I think that might be interesting if it's happening. And she has some students as well, and there was one very interesting, exactly him. So, I mean, if you have a look at him, he so completely fits the typical hero image. Not just from this show, from like feeling like a lot of series. It is this typical scrolly hair, the typical face for it, quite broad shoulders, but not overly muscular. He looks in many ways a bit like Bakugo, a bit like Deku, a bit like characters from Dragon Ball Z and from many, many other universes we've seen. So he's a typical hero type. The nice and you like him guy. And they're playing with it, you know, they even put in the sparkles and everything. And he's nice to everyone. And everyone likes, whoa, he's so positive and shiny. And, you know, even has this pose of, yay, we can do it. So, all of that. And I was like, okay, that's a strange one. And here we have the scene. And I really have to give it once again to Bakugo. He's like, and that's the sentence. What you're saying doesn't match the look on your face. So he calls him out as a liar. He says, you are a liar, you're a pretender. You are not what you want to make us think you are. And we have... there it is. We have this moment, this very short shot of reaction from him. And that is a proof for me. That is yes. So, I guess this guy will be really dangerous. Really dangerous. He seems to be kind of the leader of the group there, so we will have to look out for him. And he's the one leading the attack in the end, if I'm right. On our guys and girls. Let me see when everyone is attacked. There he is, in the middle. In the black and green dress, which is kind of at least a bit similar to the dress of Deku, you know. Green on top, black trousers, so kind of similar. So this school is in the attack, while the first one is not. And there are possibly 2 or 3 other schools, possibly more. Which brings me to the exam, last thing to mention. I know I'm discussing a lot this time, sorry, but there's a lot in this episode. The last thing, we have 1,500, and I wrote it down, 40 students who want to be among the winners. And they only have 100 who are allowed to go through. So that's already harsh. That is a lot. So I'm already saying I'm pretty sure not everyone from UA will make it. Out of multiple reasons. There are some who are stronger than others. It's just the way it is. And I don't think that every student of UA tops every student of the other school. There are characters who are very, very unlikely to succeed, like Mineta as example. Although it's about balls, so possibly. But yeah, I don't think Mineta as example will make it. I think for some others as well, like Kurishima, his ability to harden doesn't help in such a fight. You know, it's about are you being hit, so it will not help here. While others are more likely to succeed. As example, Deku, because he can go full calling monitor all the time, so he's way faster than the others. Uraka has good chances due to her anti-gravity if she can create like a field around her that changes gravity so that the balls don't hit her. Might be an option, and many others. So that's one thing. The other thing, I mentioned it during the reaction already. This exam is like the entrance exam, and it is very, very unfair to characters, to students whose abilities are not very much on speed, on aiming, and on fighting. Yes, as a hero, you're very likely to have abilities like this, but if you remember, we had heroes who were like controlling water, or being able to rescue people very good by grappling effects and stuff like that. They would have a disadvantage here, while as a hero they're incredibly useful. We had, I remember one of the girls, female heroes from the Pussycats, who had the ability to hear your thoughts, who had the ability to use telepathy, you know? Yes, you would have a small advantage because you know someone is throwing at you, but you're not good enough at bodily evading. While heroes who are by their definition, by their quirks, throwing stuff as example, would have a benefit. We discussed this in the series when it was about the entrance exam later on, when we had one of my favorite characters so far in the show who was able to control the mind of others, who clearly stated, or when they discussed about him, they stated he had no chance in the entrance exam because this ability doesn't work on robots. He would have not many chances here either. He might have a bit because he could control others, but still it is very much a bodily heavy test. So it's not fair again. Sure, every year is another test, so one might guess in another year you would have better chances. But yeah, I'm not so happy with that. But well, we are in for fighting here, so possibly that's why. Okay. One last thing. What if you are a hero who has ability to hide? This is your option. And would that be allowed? You know, you go in there and you just hide. You make yourself invisible. You phase out of this existence. You bury yourself into the ground 100 feet deep. Something like that. You cannot be hit. So, will you win? If it is about Momo creating, she's able to create stuff. What if she creates a layer above the targets? Is that allowed? Because then she's unbeatable. Stuff like that, you know? So, we will see. I've discussed a lot. I'm waiting for your comments on it. And as always, feel free to comment, to like, and to subscribe. And I will see you the next time. Until then, my name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.